Hey, what's up YouTube? Alex here, and in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down how to make money betting on PrizePicks, a book I've used for a few years now. I made $10,000 on it last year. What strategies should you be using to actually make money betting on the NFL? That's what I'm gonna take you through in this video. I wanna be very clear. This video is not sponsored by PrizePicks at all. There's tons of sports books I could make videos on. PrizePicks is obviously just a very popular book. It's grown a lot in popularity, so that's what I'm doing in this video. But anyways, let's get into it. So I figured it was helpful if we just ran through the basics of PrizePicks, how this website works extremely quickly. So first things first, on PrizePicks, you can't play straight bets. Let's say I really love Jacobs under to not score a touchdown. PrizePicks is gonna tell me, hey, you need at least one more pick to continue. Now, the second thing about PrizePicks is they have fixed payouts. So for example, if you take Jacobs over or under, it doesn't matter. On PrizePicks, as you can see on my phone right here, any two picks you select, any two pick entry, you'll get a 3x payout. It doesn't matter if you go with WNBA picks, NBA picks, whatever. Any two pick entry, you get a 3x payout. So PrizePicks makes it really simple, right? Any two picks, you get a 3x payout. Any three picks, you get a 5x payout. Any four picks in a power play, which just means you need to win every pick for your entry to cash, 4 picks, you get a 10x payout. So what does that mean? So what I'll do is I'll kind of run you through an example of very basic PrizePicks strategy in a slip I locked in. You can see the second play in this slip is Alana Smith over 4.5 rebounds. So the reason I really like this pick is if you look here at all the sports books, they all have her over heavily favored. So even if you don't use these other sports books like FanDuel and Rebet, these other books, you still want to look at them as a source of information. All these books, some of them like FanDuel, it's a $10 billion company. They've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in their ability to set lines, take bets, move odds based on where action's coming in. And FanDuel's telling you, hey, Alana Smith is a huge favorite to go over. They're telling you that through their betting market, through their odds, which is why I thought Alana Smith was an amazing pick to include in my PrizePicks entry. So on PrizePicks for regular squares, you get the same payout if you take a player to go over or under. Now, the key to beating PrizePicks, and this slightly changes depending on the type of entry you go with, whether you play a 4-pick entry versus a 3-pick entry, but the best type of slip on PrizePicks when you go through the math is a 5-pick flex play. Okay, and when you're playing 5-pick flex plays on PrizePicks, that's the main type of slip that I go with. You have to win above 54.5% of your individual over-unders to be profitable. So for example, if you can win 60% of your over-unders on PrizePicks, like, you know, Alana Smith, I know this isn't an NFL play, but like Alana Smith, her rebounds line was 4.5 on PrizePicks. If you can pick the over or the under correctly at a rate of 55% or 60% on PrizePicks, you're gonna be profitable long-term playing 5-pick flex plays. So again, that seems relatively easy to do, but you have to remember, PrizePicks sets these over-unders. So essentially what PrizePicks is trying to do is they try to set these over-unders so the probability of a player going over or under is approximately 50-50. But you need to win 54.5% of your picks or more to be profitable. So you need a real edge on PrizePicks, right? If you're picking random picks and you don't have an advantage, you're winning 50% of your plays, you're gonna get absolutely crushed long term. So long story short, the question becomes, if you wanna make money on PrizePicks, how do you win above 54.5% of your picks? So we already went through one example with Alana Smith. All the sports books have her over as a heavy favorite. So we look at these other sports books as data points, as sources of information. They all have her over as a pretty big favorite. So we know that this individual pick is winning above 54.5% of the time. So it's a great play to include in a PrizePicks entry. Now, a second example of a strategy for finding good bets on PrizePicks is to look for line discrepancies. So for Alana Smith, all the books had a rebound line at 4.5 rebounds, But the sports books had her over 4.5 as a huge favorite, which is why that pick was winning above 55% of the time. However, in some cases, especially in the NFL, you can find line discrepancies. So I'll give you an example of a play I locked in, is Isaiah Pacheco. This was, against the Ravens, not the game this year, but a year ago. Isaiah Pacheco under 66.5 rushing yards. So why do I think this pick is profitable? Well, I think this pick is profitable because I think it's winning above 54.5% of the time. Why do I think it's winning above 54.5% of the time? If you look at every other sports book, FanDuel, Pinnacle's known to be the sharpest sports book in the world. You look at all these other books, they have Pacheco's line at like 55, 57, a lot lower than PrizePicks. So Isaiah Pacheco is a popular player. Don't get me wrong, I love Isaiah Pacheco, but in this specific example, I took the under. All these other books are data points telling us, hey, Isaiah Pacheco's line should be around 55, 57, and PrizePicks has him 10 yards higher approximately at 66.5. So the value's on the under. And you definitely don't want to take the over, right? Like, why would you play Pacheco over 66.5 on PrizePicks if you can go over to DraftKings and get him over 55.5? It wouldn't make any sense. If Pacheco has exactly 60 yards, you'd win your over on DraftKings, whereas you would lose your over 66.5 on PrizePicks. So a lot of sports bettors, they like to think in terms of, I'm betting the over on this player or the under, but it really depends, where is the line set? And all of these books set their own line, so sometimes there's solid line discrepancies. In this specific example, I don't wake up in a day and say, hey, I love Isaiah Pacheco. I know for sure I'm going to bet the over on PrizePicks. It's more like, hey, I really want to place a PrizePicks entry. I want to make some money sports betting. Let's see where the value is. And in this scenario, out of all the NFL players, PrizePicks was screwing up the line on Isaiah Pacheco. They had the line 10 yards above the market. The value was on the under. Now, whether or not this individual pick won or lost, honestly, I don't even remember. That's not the point though. The point is if you're finding value in the market, you're making sure every play you go with has an edge. That's a good thing. Not every PrizePicks play is gonna win, especially if you're playing 5-pick entries. They're pretty hard to win, but they have a 10x payout. When you're playing 10x entries on PrizePicks, a 5-pick flex play, if you go 1 of 10, right? Let's say you miss every entry. You go 0 for 5 on your first 9 entries and then 5 for 5 on your last entry, you still broke even. So you need to have a long-term mindset. No one has a crystal ball and is going to be able to tell you, hey, here's the 5 perfect picks to go with. It's all about having a long-term focus. That's how you get an edge and you beat the sports books long-term. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you I win every single PrizePicks entry because that would be BS. But I have an edge. I win over 54.5% of my individual over-unders, which is why I'm profitable long-term. So the next strategy that's really effective for beating PrizePicks is taking advantage of correlation. So I said earlier, explained earlier, on PrizePicks, if you take a player to go over or under, you're going to get the same payout regardless, right? So when you're betting on plays in the same game, and this applies to college football, it also applies to the NFL, you can look for positively correlated plays. So let me just give you a simple example. That's the easiest and best way to explain correlation. Is I ended up taking Miller Moss, college football, but still relevant to the NFL, under in passing yards, and then I took a receiver for USC, so a player on the same team, under in receiving yards. Obviously, Hudson is one of Miller Moss, the USC quarterback, his main targets. So if Miller Moss goes under in passing yards, then Hudson's going to be a lot more likely to go under in receiving yards. So these plays are what you'd call positively correlated plays. And there's other examples of positive correlation, but this is just a really simple one for football, taking a QB's under in passing yards and one of the main receivers under in receiving yards. And again, the reason this is so powerful on PrizePicks is they have fixed payouts. If you take a player's over or under, you're going to get the same payout. Now that's completely different from most sports books. For example, FanDuel has the same odds on Garrett Wilson, his over and his under in receiving yards. His over-under is at 68.5 receiving yards, and the odds are -113 on the over, -113 on the under. But what you'll notice is if you take Aaron Rodgers over in passing yards and Garrett Wilson under, which wouldn't make much sense to do on PrizePicks because they have fixed payouts, on FanDuel, your parlay would come out to plus 332 odds. So betting 100 to win 332 in profit. Now, on the other hand, if you take Wilson over in receiving yards, Aaron Rodgers over in receiving yards, or passing yards, your parlay would come out to plus 164. So FanDuel drastically reduces the payout if you take positively correlated plays. Now again, that's what's unique about PrizePicks is they have fixed payouts. That's how their site works. If you take a QB's under, you can take a receiver's under. Now, what I do think is really important to note is sometimes PrizePicks tries to add in payout shifts. They'll try to add in a payout shift that says, hey, we usually give you a 10x payout, but we're going to reduce it to 8x. But what I've determined just from, playing a lot of money on PrizePicks is for 4-pick entries, there is no payout shift. 4-pick power plays on PrizePicks, they always have a 10x payout. And if you take a QB's under and a receiver's under, you're still going to get a 10x payout. So PrizePicks says there's a payout shift, but there's not actually a payout shift. And you're getting really strong correlation if you take a QB's under and one of their main targets under. Or obviously you could take QB over, wide receiver over. You get the point. Long story short, this is just a simple example of correlation, QB and wide receiver, but obviously there's other ones to exploit in defensive props like tackles plus assists, sacks, all different types of correlation you can think about and put to work on PrizePicks to become more profitable. Finding picks in the same game where if one pick occurs, the other picks are more likely to win as well, right? So one thing to mention is a good way for looking at correlation is you can simply pull up the odds on FanDuel or DraftKings or any other books that price in correlation. So PrizePicks is a fixed payout DFS platform. They don't price in correlation. Sometimes they add in payout shifts, but in general, they're not taking into account correlation. FanDuel, on the other hand, is. So what you can do is you can play around with FanDuel and look at how do the payouts change if I take this player over versus this player under. For example, just like I showed you with Garrett Wilson, if you take Rodgers over, Wilson over, you're going to get a much lower payout than Aaron Rodgers over, Garrett Wilson under in receiving yards because both overs paired together is positively correlated. If Rodgers goes over, then Wilson is much more likely to go over. Those two plays are positively correlated, so FanDuel drastically reduces the payout. That lets you know, hey, these plays are positively correlated. So what you can do when you're building your PrizePicks slip is kind of build it on FanDuel, compare the payouts, and see how things work out. Now, there's obviously other concepts on PrizePicks like bankroll management that are important, but long story short, I think it's kind of a distraction from the point of this video, right? The key to this video is before you ever place another bet on PrizePicks, really understand how does this platform work. You want to make sure every single pick you include in a slip has value. So whether you're finding a play like the Alana Smith play we went through previously, where you compare to sports books and the over is heavily favored, so that's a pick you decide to go with, or line discrepancies like the play I went through on Isaiah Pacheco, where his line is 10 yards above the market, so you decide to take the under. Those are the things that are really important, right? Understanding correlation on PrizePicks, the power of it, taking a wide receiver under as well as the QB under. Those are the things that are really important. Of course, I think bankroll management is critical. You shouldn't bet all your money on one slip. Just bet money that you're willing to lose because, again, not every PrizePicks slip is going to win. I have placed thousands of PrizePicks entries at this point, and I've lost most of them. right? On PrizePicks, these are 10x payouts. You're betting 100 to win 1,000. You're not gonna hit anywhere close to 50%. So you need to have a long-term mindset. Don't buy into the marketing of, hey, I hit this 5 flex, buy my premium, because that's BS, right? It's not about winning one slip. Anybody can win one slip. It's about winning long-term consistently. So the final thing I'll mention is when you're betting on the NFL, this is a sport that I bet on for years and years. I can't even remember the last year I didn't bet on the NFL. Basically every single Sunday, Thursday, and Monday. But regardless, is you need to track your bets, right? Like, this is really important. I use a verified bet tracker called Pickit. I can look back at last year. I can see, hey, I'm up $40,000 betting on the NFL, and here's the books I was most successful on. What Pickit does is it reads in your wagers from all these different sports books and tells you, hey, here was your profit and loss. And that's really important because, again, if you're betting on sports every single day on multiple sports books, it's hard to know, did I win or did I lose? It's easy to get frustrated after a few losses in a row that, hey, this isn't working. But what you really need to do is understand the strategies, the math behind PrizePicks, correlation, line discrepancies, how to find value in the market. I make sure every single pick I give out on whether it's YouTube or Twitch live stream or Twitter, I make sure every single pick that I give out has value in the market. I truly believe that's the first step to being a profitable sports bettor. If you're betting on Isaiah Pacheco over 66.5 yards, which is a horrible line when you could get that over at 55.5 on DraftKings, you're gonna get crushed long term. You need to be finding value. So long story short, when you're tracking your bets and you can look back over the course of 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, that's when you know, hey, I got it. I'm being successful. I'm making money on PrizePicks. I'm making money on FanDuel, whatever other books you're using, betting on the NFL. So you need to track your bets. I highly encourage that. When I started sports betting, I was working full-time on Wall Street. I started sports betting for fun, and I literally was betting things for $5, $10. The money wasn't that impactful, but I ruthlessly tracked my ROI month after month until I really started to increase my unit size to the point now where every NFL Sunday, I'm betting tens of thousands of dollars on the NFL, right? So track your bets, track your bets, track your bets, and really take time to invest in your betting education. Understanding things like correlation, finding line discrepancies, how markets work, right? It's not that complicated, but you have to put in the time. Because if you just randomly open PrizePicks and just bet with your gut, you're gonna get killed long term. These sports books aren't that stupid, right? When I took Isaiah Pacheco under 66.5 yards, when all the other books have him around 55, 57, these other sports books are smart, man. They're taking bets from all these customers. They're multi-billion-dollar companies. They have really good models, really good data feeds, way better than any capper on the internet. They're moving their lines and their odds based on where action and betting volume is coming in, especially from their sharp or profitable customers. And they're all setting the line at 55. It's pretty clear to me. I don't care if Isaiah Pacheco is great or he's not great. The value's on the under. That's the play we want to be on. All these sharp books taking hundreds of millions of dollars in bets every single Sunday, adjusting lines based on where sharp, profitable customers are putting down money. They have them at 55.5. Getting under 66.5 seems like an absolute no-brainer. So, long story short, track your bets, take the time to invest in your betting education, and as always, feel free to reach out to me with any questions you have about PrizePicks or any other sports book. I always recommend use multiple sports books. Sure, whatever, this video was about PrizePicks, but I've used hundreds of sports books. You probably can't name a sports book in the United States, at least, that I haven't used. I've lived in Arizona, Virginia, New York, New Jersey. I've traveled to different states like Colorado to take advantage of sportsbook sign-up bonuses. FanDuel, DraftKings, all the fantasy sites, Underdog Fantasy, PrizePicks, Better. I've used them all. The more books you use, the better. All these books set their own lines. So sometimes PrizePicks has really good value. Other times the value is not on PrizePicks. It's on FanDuel. That's where the opportunity is. That's where the profitable bets are. So I always recommend to people use as many books as possible. But regardless, I really hope you found this video helpful. I hope it makes you money on PrizePicks. And feel free to comment any questions. Please like, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. And enjoy this NFL season.